Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're watching this from. This is my Teofimo Lopez versus Steve Claggett bottom preview and bottom predictions. I will also be predicting the tour main event, which takes place between Roberto Ramirez, the return of Roberto Ramirez, up against the Mexican of Brandon Benitez, of course. So let's get straight into it. With the tour main event, Roberto Ramirez against Brandon Benitez, the Mexican in the 126-pound division. Roberto Ramirez, who is obviously just recently coming on the back of a defeat, hasn't he? He has came back on the back of a recent defeat to Rafael Espinoza, using his belt to Espinoza as well. So it's all about getting back on track for Roberto Ramirez. And I tell you what though, Rafael Espinoza, to the probably YouTube boxing fans, or even most boxing fans, Espinoza, he was unknown as well. Let's be real. So it could be a dangerous fight for Ramirez. Could be a dangerous fight, and if he uses it, then I think he's done in terms of at the world level, Ramirez. So it is a hefty fight for him. Then it's a tough Mexican and Brandon Benitez. But I have seen Benitez's weaknesses, and it is in the second half of the fight. For me. That's where the weakness is, because he has been stopped before in the second half of the fight. So I think Benitez might actually start strong quickly, but then I think he'll just eventually run out of that and stamina. That's where I think Ramirez could take advantage, and I'm looking for a Ramirez must-needed win, and I'm looking for Ramirez to get a stoppage in the 8th round against Benitez. I think it'd be a tough fight for him. I think it'd be a tough fight for Ramirez, because the last Mexican he struggled against was obviously Espinoza, and he was kind of an unknown, wasn't he? So I am done off Roberto Ramirez to get the stoppage in the 8th round, and it will be a must. He just needs to win, Ramirez. He needs to win, otherwise, if he gets beat Ramirez then, I think he has to be done. He has to be done at world level, in my opinion. In terms of the featherweight division. And but I'm finally onto the main event, the WBO World Super Lightweight title, where we see Teofimo Lopez defend his title against Steve Claggett, the Canadian. 20-1 record for Teofimo Lopez, the only defeat coming against George Tabassos. Obviously using them points to George Tabassos, of course. And he's up against Steve Claggett, who's got quite a stat-padded record, hasn't he? 38 wins, 7 defeats, and 2 draws, of course. Steve Claggett, so he's been around, hasn't he? He has been around. And the thing is, this is going to be unpredictable. It's just going to be... The thing with Teofimo Lopez is he can probably win how he wants. I would expect Lopez to win this fight, but when it's been against opponents like Steve Claggett, or which are probably unknown to a lot of people, Teofimo Lopez has struggled. He has struggled. Jermaine Ortiz. Jermaine Ortiz is another one where Teofimo Lopez struggled. So there's been fights for me. There has been fights for Teofimo Lopez where when it's not been against a big name, when it's not been against a big name, he's struggled. Teofimo Lopez, and he's managed to shit out a win by either getting favoured on the judges. But when it's a big name, like Shots Taylor, for example, Teofimo Lopez, he turns up. So it's gonna be unpredictable what Teofimo Lopez turns up, but again, you would expect him to win this fight, Teofimo Lopez, and there is a lot of fights for Lopez in the background. Obviously, Jack Tattel's been spoke about in the super lightweight division. I can't really see that fight happening, even though Eddie Hearn would love that fight. Teofimo Lopez, I think he would love to have the Devin Haney fight, wouldn't he? He would love to have that fight. And if Haney and Lopez did fight, you might actually fancy Lopez because he actually turns up, doesn't he? When it's a bigger name. With all due respect to Steve Claggett. And by the way, Teofimo Lopez obviously lost to George Tabotos. And for me, a lot of people don't rate George Tabotos Jr. I don't either. I don't rate him either. So it's a hard one to... Look, it's not hard who I think will win. I think Lopez will win. It's just about how he wants to win, Teofimo Lopez. I tell you what, I think this is going to be another underwhelming performance because you just seem to see a pattern. When Lopez is against a Shots Taylor, for example, he turns up with his A game. When he's up against Steve Claggett or someone like that, he normally puts in a mediocre performance, Teofimo Lopez, and normally quite lucky to get the decision. So I actually think Lopez will win on points. I actually think it'll be a shithouse win on points for Teofimo Lopez, where to a lot of people, they might actually go for Lopez's opponent to win in their eyes when the fight's going on. So I'm going for Teofimo Lopez to win on points, and I actually think it'll be another underwhelming performance just because it's not a big name. It's not a big name opposition. And Lopez, that's what it is. Lopez can't seem to get up for opponents like Steve Claggett, but when it's against Shots Taylor, he's proper up for it, and he puts on a massive cut, like he did against Shots Taylor, for example. So I think Teofimo Lopez, for me, he needs the big fights. For me, he needs the big names. That's where he excels, in my opinion. Teofimo Lopez. So I'm asking for Lopez to win on points, and I think it'll probably be an underwhelming win for Teofimo Lopez on points. So feel free to leave your predictions down below in the comments. Take care, stay safe, see you later, and I'll be back with another boxing preview for the Juan Francisco Estrada versus Jesse Bamwood-Breeders card. So stay tuned for that, and feel free to leave your thoughts down below in the comments.